morning, everyone. Looks like we're broadcasting. People are here. Hi, Marcy. Congratulations on being first. Ruth Ann. Hi, at random. Walking with no headphones, but we'll try and listen. So at random is walking Rusty, holding her phone up to her ear like that. Good morning, everybody. I am your host, your KevinlyFather. Welcome to the show. What a big day. What a huge day yesterday in terms of development in the government. Turns out Joe Manchin was taking us all for a ride, and that ride was in a beautiful SUV with a $7,500 subsidy. I need you to do something for me today. Everybody watching this broadcast, here's what's going on. The subsidy, the tax credit for EVs is being renewed. According to Joe Manchin, he's agreed to about $300 billion worth of incentives for green vehicles, for building back a bit, for the environmental passage, or the environmental themes that the Democratic Party has been going at for quite a while now, that Joe Biden wanted. He wanted many, many more. Manchin's agreed to X amount. Also, are we in a recession? No, we're not. But it may be declared so later, but that's a different story. So here's what I need from people today. If you wouldn't mind, call your two senators, call your congressperson, and let them know, hey, that $7,500 credit, that $4,000 credit on a used electric vehicle, $7,500 tax credit on a new electric vehicle, those are super, super great. Here's the problem. The people that need those credits the most, they don't get them. They might get a part of them, but in order to have $7,500 of tax liability, you've got to be making over $70,000. And no other tax, like no house, no write-offs, no nothing. Now, if you pay $1,000 in taxes, federal taxes, you get back $1,000. That doesn't include your Social Security and all the FICA and all the other stuff that you have to pay in. That stays there. That's not really federal tax. That's just your money that you get back later if you live that long. It's basically life insurance from the government, or actually old age insurance. So call your senators, write to them, write to your congressperson, and say, hey, what would work a lot better, so that the people that actually need the relief from gas prices the most, the teachers who have to live in the suburbs because they can't afford to live in the city, but they're teaching your kids in the city, and they have to drive the extra distance because they can't afford to live in the city, the doctors, the people working in retail, the young people who just got out of college and have huge mountains of debt and are not making that much money later, or right at the moment, because they're just starting their careers, everybody working in social services, everybody working at Walmart except the managers and assistant manager, all of these people, they don't make enough money to pay any federal tax. Or maybe they only pay a little bit of federal tax. Remember, 47% of the American tax-paying public doesn't pay tax in terms of federal government. Yes, we pay all kinds of other taxes. We pay our sales tax. We pay state tax if we have it. There's all kinds of taxes that we pay. But 47% of Americans, Mitt Romney was right, they're not paying federal tax. So they get nothing from a tax credit. What we need, what the people that we need to make the most difference need, is a tax rebate. So even if you're only pulling down, if you're a teacher, and you're only pulling down $48,000, and your tax liability is basically nothing by the time you do your write-offs, and the alternative minimum tax and all the other stuff, even a teacher who needs that electric vehicle, and remember, we're building 500,000 charging stations because of the last infrastructure package that passed, which nobody ever talks about, by the way. Huge accomplishment. A bipartisan infrastructure bill in this date. Even that person will get, when they buy a used electric vehicle, they will get $4,000 in a rebate. It all comes out of the same pot. It really doesn't make that much of a difference. But the idea is you want more people buying electric vehicles, and you want those electric vehicles to be made here in the United States. Now, used cars, it doesn't make that much of a difference. But there are some very affordable new vehicles, one of which I hope to be buying at some point. I'm getting some help from the California government. I'm getting the Southern California Clean Air Management District to pay me quite a bit of money for my 2002 Ford Focus, which isn't worth anything. But it's literally, I've looked at auction sites to give it to the auction, and it's zero. They'll just come tow it for me and donate it to Cars for Kids. Don't, with the song, stop. If instead of a credit, we had a rebate, which is, by the way, the original plan from Biden. That's what he wanted. And it doesn't take that much to change. Now, we have the Democrats' cooperation on this. This can be passed in the Senate. That's where it's going to start. This is Chuck Manchin's bill. Chuck Manchin. Never mind. Joe Manchin has agreed to cooperate with Chuck Schumer's bill. Chuck Schumer's bill says credit, not rebate, from what I understand from all the reading that I've been doing. Now, reporters might be not diving into it deep enough. I don't know. Haven't read the bill itself, because it's just proposed at this point. If instead they were rebates, then your teachers would qualify. Then your security guards would qualify. The kind of person that would be absolutely perfect in a 2014 used Leaf that's going to set them back $10,000, $15,000, probably $30,000 right now. Let's be honest with the price of used cars. But that's coming down. Used cars are finally beginning to drop. Demand is finally beginning to drop because interest rates have gone up. We just raised them another 75 basis points, 0.75%. I don't know why. When people say basis points, they're basically saying, I know a lot about the economy. It's just 0.75 point is what it is. So your interest rate on your loan from your credit union might go from 5% to 5.75%, which in a car doesn't make that much of a difference on a monthly basis. But for a house, makes a huge difference. Now you're talking about $300 more per month on a $250,000 home, or whatever it is. There's all kinds of places you can find the math there. So call your peoples who represent you. You got 2 senators if you live in the United States, and 1 congressperson, and you just Google who's my congressperson if you don't know who it is. Mine is Adam Schiff. Not to brag. Just call them and just talk to the people that answer the phone, or email them. Calls are better, and just say, hey, instead of a tax rebate, instead of a tax credit where you get back the taxes that you paid, let's make it a tax rebate for the 47% of Americans who don't make enough money to pay that federal income tax. Or maybe they're a teacher who makes $50,000 a year and they have $1,500 of tax liability. So at the end of the year, they pay $1,500 in taxes to the federal government. Let them get the rebate for $4,000 for a used vehicle. Or if they buy a cheaper, like a Leaf or a Chevy Bolt, both these cars end up being 26, I think. Let's find out exactly. I should know this. But if you buy a new, this is the keychain that Zeldin was attacked with, MSRP Bolt. Let's see. Right now, the Chevy Bolt EV, $27,200. That's not very much for a car, especially one that gets 250 miles on a charge. That's insane. It's a completely battery-operated car. It's good for the planet. It's good for everybody. It's the kind of car you can charge at home. You're getting 250 miles out of it. If you're commuting 50 miles a day, that's 1 charge per week. You plug it in overnight, and you're good to go. They also come, the Bolt comes with a charger as well. They pay for a company to come out and install a charger in your garage. Or maybe you live in an apartment, you can't use a charger. Fine, there's fast charging stations all over. Maybe you go to school and you plug in at the school because you're a teacher. And in Texas, you plug it in and you get your gun, you put it in your pocket, and you walk into the school. Probably in your purse. Most likely be female if you're a teacher. Put it in your purse and then go, hang your purse on the little hook on the side of the desk, and then a kid comes along and, sees a gun and, oh my God, where's Mrs. Nickabator? Grabs the gun. And that's a tangent on my part. But yeah, in Texas you can bring your guns to school if you're a teacher. That's like 28 states now. You can do that. So many other things going on in the news. But if you could do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. I will be calling my 2 senators today. I will be calling Adam Schiff today. So, How do you find them? Just Google it. There's all kinds of sources. There's a general White House, I think it's a 212 number, 202. What is it at the White House? You can call the Capitol Hill. You can call the Capitol building and just tell them where you live, and they will connect you to your senators or your congressperson. So that happened, and that's huge. The bill is huge. I was just actually, this has just come up on the. I'll tell you what's in there. Yeah. Oh, the other thing we've been waiting for decades. Congress, by law, could not negotiate for Medicare and/or Medicaid the price of prescription drugs. Couldn't do it. It was illegal for the government to negotiate. But the government's the biggest health insurer out there because of Medicare and Medicaid. Same thing. They're not, but anyway. Now, with this bill, they're going to be able to negotiate drug prices with the drug companies, which is huge. The drug company lobby is the biggest lobby in Washington. Oh, we spend so much money on research. Right. Research is a very, very small piece of that pie. Research is just the crust that's left in the end because someone doesn't like crust. That's all that research is out of that pie that the drug companies spend. So much more on advertising, on your CNN or whatever we're watching right now. This is Today's Show. Odds are very, very good that the next ad here is a drug company ad. Hold on. Let's find out. Either that or if we were watching Fox News, it would be for gold. And it's not giving me a preview, so I can't. But I mean, you guys know that. Deidre says, my daughter officially started her teaching job this week, and she got engaged. Oh, wow. That's two big things. So congratulations to your daughter, Deidre. Morning, Kimchi. Good to see you. Marcy called her senators yesterday. Good job. The other thing that's huge news. One of the things talked about is a cap of $2,000 on medication. So if you're on Medicaid, which most seniors are, and many people in the smart states, there's still, I think, 18 or 19 stupid states that haven't expanded Medicaid into Obamacare. If you're on those plans, the most you can spend is $2,000 a year on your... Sorry, that's COVID. Dégoûtant. So that's fantastic, especially for seniors on a fixed income who are being hit by inflation. I don't even know if I'm going to have time to get to are we in a recession yet. But the economy, again, contracted in the last 3 months, which is actually kind of good. But we'll dig into those numbers later. All the numbers aren't out on that yet. So $369 billion for climate and energy. That's the subsidies for the green cars. But we need that to change to a rebate. And this is not a huge jump, by the way. This is what's been considered all along. $15 corporate minimum tax. That is huge. All of these corporations, Amazon, GE, all of these, they pay zero in federal income tax, and they have been paying zero for years. If they're making $1 billion or more in a year, well, no, yeah, you guys got to pay 15%. I mean, come on. All of this money that you're making, by the way, because of the system that's been built for you. Amazon can't deliver all of those goods, and I got nothing against Amazon. Amazon delivers right into my garage. It's fantastic. I'll tell you about it another time. My packages don't get stolen anymore. Right into the garage. Right there, they put it down right next to the skunks. All of those corporations are making that money because they drive on the roads that the taxpayers have built. You can't deliver. All these Amazon trucks, they're driving on roads. They're filling up at gas stations or electric charging stations that the government put into place with subsidies. The government doesn't pay for gas stations. Yeah, it does. Oil companies get a ton of subsidies. Oil companies get subsidies. They get to write off the oil that they think they might have found when they drill, but they don't find anything in that particular drilling location. Okay, we're going to write that off. However much they thought that might be there, and they can just write in any number they want. So there's all kinds of ridiculous subsidies for these corporations. It's time for them to start paying a little bit of tax. And 15%, it's a pretty good deal, quite frankly. $300 billion in deficit reduction. The numbers on the deficit, the amount of government spending that has been decreased during the Biden administration is breathtaking. The money that Trump was spending was not Republican money. Those are not Republican numbers. Trump spent like a drunken sailor. And now Joe Biden is cutting way back on deficit spending, and no one's really talking about it. You're never going to hear about that on Fox News. It's mind-boggling. And here we are. And in this plan, it's another $300 billion in deficit reduction. Republicans are up in arms at 15% corporate minimum tax. Oh, you're taxing the job creators. We got 11 million jobs out there waiting to be filled. Some corporations yesterday announced their earnings. Walmart stock went down 9% in one day. They're saying, you know what? The economy is slowing down. Good. We kind of want that because inflation has been out of hand. How do you slow it down? You raise the interest rate. Now, I am of the mind you raise the interest rates, it just hurts the little guy. Everything always hurts the little guy. Raising inflation rates, now it costs more to buy a car, to buy a house. The housing market will slow way down. New home starts, etc. The people who make the homes slow way down. We actually don't want that. That's a huge mistake. We want new houses being built. We really, really, really do. If anything, the interest rate should be adjusted so that new homes get a slight break, so that people then keep up the demand for the new homes, because we really, really need new homes. It's about one home for every 5 families looking for a home in this country. We have been in a housing shortage since well before COVID. This is not a COVID thing, but COVID, of course, enters into it. So this is like economics with Kevin today. I don't know anything. All of the economics experts, they don't know anything. There's about half of them that are saying, yeah, we're not due for a recession, and half of them are saying, oh, we're already in the recession. We don't know. That's the beautiful part. There's a few guys who there might be a female as well, on an economic relations board, and they decide when we're in a recession, but it'll be later, and we won't know that we're actually in it until 3 or 4 months after it's in. Lights at night on the street. Yeah, of course, there's so many parts of the social contract that allow these corporations to make more than $1 billion. I mean, remember how, oh my God. Yeah, by the way, lottery now is up to $1 billion. So you could be a billionaire overnight, and then you got to pay your 15% corporate minimum tax. Here's the thing, going back to the EV credits. A study was done by the Congressional Research Service. That's nonpartisan. They don't care. They just look at the numbers. A study was done, I believe in 20 or 21, I think it was 20. It might have been earlier than that, but whatever. So those electric vehicle subsidies we were talking about before, the tax credits. Remember, we don't want credits. Well, we do want credits. Credits, good. Rebates, much, much, much better. That's what we want. Call your Congress people. Rebates, please, not credits. So a study was done of who gets the credits for electric vehicles. 78%, let's just round it up, let's say 80% of the people getting those credits for EVs, for electric vehicles, made more than $100,000 a year. They're okay with paying for gas. They don't need the government assistance. Okay, good. I wish I was in that tax bracket. I have been before. I hope to get back there again. That's the goal. If I'm paying more taxes, I'm making more money. It's a good position to be in. You make $100,000 a year. That's the kind of the point of, hey, I don't have to worry so much about money. You see something on TV? I would like that. You can buy that. That's where you are if you're making $100,000 a year. Gas goes up by $1 a gallon. Oh, it's going to cost me an extra 20 cents if my car gets 5 miles to the gallon. If I have the worst car in the world, if I have a Model T, it's going to cost me an extra 20 cents a mile. Not a big deal. So in order to take that huge chunk, 7% of the EV claims were to millionaires. Millionaires are taking this tax break. So we don't want credits, we want a rebate. And that may have changed in the last couple of years. I don't know. I mean, everything's been so wacky since COVID that I don't think any study is going to make a difference. But yeah, 78% of the claims, people getting that rebate back, people making over $100,000 a year. We want the teachers to get that. We want anybody making $48,000 a year. somebody just getting out of college, all those other jobs that we need, the kind of people that help us out on a daily basis more than anybody, people working at the DMV. People working at AAA. I went to AAA yesterday. I went to the post office. I went to, where else? Did I go into Walmart? I did. I went into Walmart. I was charging an electric vehicle. Was charging producer JoJo car for her. She was letting me drive her car because gas expensive. And I don't have an electric vehicle. I mean, I do, but my daughter drives it. Anyway, now we're getting into the weeds. But all of those people that helped me yesterday, none of them can get the full electric vehicle credit. And you want them, what is it? You know what? Toyota made electric RAV4s in 2012, 13, 14. Those cars are cheap now because they had a range of about 103 miles. But they're an SUV. Now the range is probably somewhere 70 to 80 miles because they've been on the road for 10 years and people use them and the batteries degrade over time. They can be recharged and they can be, that's why. But 80 miles for most people is more than enough for their commute. About 25 miles is an average commute in this country. It's fantastic. Yes, and at Random makes a very good point. Now the proposals have income caps. So you can't be a millionaire and get the EV credit, which is great. I have no problem supporting that. And I think it's $150,000 per individual, $300,000 per household. Still, you're rich. If you're pulling in $300,000 in your household, you're fine. You're okay. If you can buy a house on 1 year's salary, you're okay. Now, granted, that house has to be in Oklahoma, but if you're making $300,000, you're working from home. Let's be honest. DeSantis has screwed Florida so hard. Are they too stupid to see it? 40 years of dumbing down in schools. Yeah. There's so many things to talk about today. I might have to broadcast later as well. But let's cover this. $300 billion in deficit reduction. So, I need you to call hi, Gallon of Stew. You're not going to help anybody because you can't call your senator. You don't have any. Gallon of Stew is over in the European side of the business. There's something at Random. There's 75 individual and 150K married. No, there's something else there at Random as well. There's 150 and 300,000 in the household. You might be thinking of the used vehicle credit at Random, but look that up, please. Take some time right now. And I've seen different figures. What's in the bill and Chuck Schumer's plan is just a proposal right now. The bill hasn't been laid down. We'll work on this next week. But yes. But if you're going to do that, if you're going to cap it at $75,000, a lot of people are not going to be using that. You want the people making $48,000. Let's just look at the tax brackets. Hold on. Tax table. U.S. Pull it up. NerdWallet 2021 federal income tax. That's close enough. Let's see. Okay, so that's your tax rate. Show me how much you make, and no, that's not what I'm looking for. Here we go. This is from the IRS itself. Let's see if they do the income tax credits, and let's see if taxable income is okay. Excellent. Your tax is okay? So if you're making, let's go to $48,000 and see how much you make. And this is before any other write-offs or anything like that. So $48,000. Here we go. If you're making $48,000 and you are you're a head of household, let's see, you got a couple of kids, $48,000, $5,479 worth of taxes, but you've always got write-offs in there as well. So you don't really pay that. You get a write-off of $12,500 if I remember correctly. That's right off the bat. And so that takes you instead down to the $36,000 range, and now your taxes have fallen down to $4,000. If you actually end up paying that, because you've got other write-offs as well, theoretically. Well, no, you don't. Not if you take the alternative. So these people, right in this range, you want them to, if they're paying $4,000, that's great. They get an EV and they get that $4,000. If they don't have any other write-offs whatsoever, good. But you want them to also be able to buy the new cars and get that $7,500. Plus, well, no, you can't can't remember if you're making that much, whether you still get the state tax taken off or not. But you're paying, if you're in California, for example, you're paying state tax. So it would be great if people would call and say, make it a rebate. So that everybody making, everybody working at Walmart, they should be able to buy a used RAV4. I saw one for sale for $15,000, which is insanely high, but that's what used cars are right now. But normally that car would be $8,000 to $10,000. A used Leaf would be $5,000 to $9,000. Had a buddy pick one up before COVID. He paid $3,000 for it. It had like a 60-mile range left. It was a 2011, 2012 that had been driven hard. But he just used it to run around the neighborhood, go to his tennis matches, back and forth to work, taking the kids to school. 60 miles is plenty of miles. It's essentially a free car for him because he doesn't have to buy gas anymore. So that's fantastic. So anyway, that's one thing that's happened in the news. The other thing is that we passed the chip and science bill. So chips, $50 billion worth of subsidies or whatever it is, the companies will get subsidies to build computer chips here in the United States. And of course, computer chips have led to inflation. Huge. Because of computer chips, we haven't been able to build enough cars. We haven't been able, for example, the Chevy Volt, they can build the car, but they don't have the computer chips to put in the Super Cruise, which is get on the freeway and the car drives itself. Essentially, it doesn't, but it's kind of what it is. We haven't been able, hey, here's your car, but, it's a Polestar. It's an electric Polestar 2, which is really, really great. And I know you paid for the rear gate to open itself up and close itself, which is kind of a pain unless you're short. If you're short, you need that. If you're my height, you don't need that. It just wastes, hold on, I got to press the key fob. Beep, 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 beep. No, just let me open it, let me close it. If you have that automatic gate and you're opening and closing it manually, you're hurting the motor. You don't want to do that. Anyway, that takes a computer chip. All of those little things, little bells and whistles in the car take a computer chip. And cars are being delivered like a Polestar. Here you go. There's your Polestar. The kick opening automatic door thing in the back, the gate, it's not working yet, but we'll call you when we get those chips and then you can come in. The auto gate is cool for groceries. Some of the cars, you just kick underneath it. You guys can't see it. But basically, you just go with your foot and you kick underneath the little sensor in the back. Why am I wearing high knee socks? That's a calf compression thing right there. I have a calf injury because I'm a delicate flower. And I play tennis at 8:30? 8:30. So we're going to have to wrap this up at some point. So what the House and Senate managed to do is pass this on a bipartisan basis with some Republicans in the Senate actually supporting it. It worked. And why? Because the Republicans thought Joe Manchin wasn't going to deal with the Build Back a Bit plan at all. Wasn't going to cooperate. Remember, just 2 Fridays ago, Joe Manchin had said, we're not going to make an agreement here. It's not going to happen. I don't want to spend that money. Inflation is too high. I don't want to put any more money into the system. Manchin and, really his spokespeople let that leak that he didn't support. It wasn't going to happen. We weren't going to get that negotiation with drug companies. Just, no, not going to do it. Not going to do it. Now, after the first Build Back Better plan died, he had said, I'd be willing to talk, but on a much lower basis. It was $4 trillion, then it was 1.9, then it was 1.6, then it was 1.1 trillion is what he was willing to do. This is going to be about $600 billion, which is fantastic. And it also reduces the deficit as part of the agreement. And the money is being raised through that corporate tax, etc., that isn't going to raise money on the school teachers, but will raise the money from the corporations. And, the corporations are just going to pass that cost. The corporation is going to be fine. Any corporation making more than $1 billion, dividends might go down a little bit. And that's going to hurt you if you live off of stock dividends. You're going to be fine. If you live off of stock dividends, you're doing okay. You're really, really in good shape. So anyway, call your center peoples and let them know that you would prefer it to be a tax rebate. And it doesn't really hurt anybody, and it just helps people. 47%. 47%. This tax table, by the way, this is on the IRS website. This should reflect, for example, if you make $1,000, you owe $101 in taxes. Nobody making $1,000 pays any tax whatsoever. Okay, here's an example. Mr. and Mrs. Brown are filing. You know what? I don't even get it. It's way too complicated because nobody actually pays what's on the tax table. But you get the idea. You want people to be able to pay those taxes and get that money back. Or not pay the taxes and get the money back that the millionaire is paying in taxes. It's all part of the same pool. The bottom line is you want people to have electric vehicles. It's better for them, it's better for the environment, and the people who can least afford the price of gas are the people who need the electric vehicles the most. They're the ones doing the jobs. The hard-working Americans. No, people who make $200,000 a year, they can be working very hard as well. And odds are very good that they put in the time to get an education so they could get the $200,000 job. But teachers get a lot of education, unless they're in Florida. Then you just have to be the spouse of a military member. I don't even know if that's true. We got to look that up. There's a story going around right now. The story. Let's go to Snopes. And oh no, Tony. No, Tony Dow is not dead. Last I heard he was not dead, but let's see. The story is developing. Okay, so apparently Tony Dow, he was on Leave It to Beaver. He was dead, and then he wasn't dead because it was a false report. And now the story is developing, and he may, in fact, just one day after it was announced that he was dead, but he's not dead, apparently now he is dead. So, I'm sorry to hear that to the family of Tony Dow. Quite a life. Let's look up Florida teachers. You know how teachers need like an education? Okay, Florida governor signs bill allowing more armed teachers. We're not. I don't see a Snopes check on that yet. It must be. This is like a hot topic out there. Let's leave Tony Dow, and I don't know if it's in their search engine yet. Okay, hold on. Let's go to Florida. Let's do a Google search. Teachers, spouses, veterans. Yeah. So this is CBS 42 in Birmingham. Okay, not Florida, but this is probably going to be a legit source. It sure looks like it. With about 3 weeks left until students start the new school year, Florida is taking a new approach to address its current teacher shortage. It's turning to veterans and their spouses to head to the classroom and teach. The Florida Education reports more than 9,000 vacancies. What recession? Maybe if these people could get a nice EV tax rebate, they'd be willing to teach. I don't know. 4,300 teaching jobs and 5,200 non-teaching essential jobs. So 9,000 empty jobs in the schools. The state is trying to expand the workforce opportunities for veterans and their spouses. The Florida Department of Education announced that military veterans and their spouses could receive 5-year vouchers, allowing them to teach in the classroom without a degree. The move is tied to $8.6 million the state announced would be used to expand career and workforce training opportunities. I'm all for workforce and training opportunities for veterans and their spouses. Fan-damn-tastic. Thank you for your service. We will help you. This goes way back to the GI Bill. It's a great idea. Fantastic. But, okay. The Florida Department of Education says those eligible to apply include active duty service members of the U.S. Armed Forces Reserve. That's good. The spouses of active duty members. So if your spouse is in the military, you can just become a teacher. No education necessary. For 5 years, you can teach our kids. The spouses, substitute teaching, I get. The spouses of veterans who are honorably discharged or retired from you. So if you're veterans, basically. The surviving spouses of veterans who died while on active duty. Okay, so if your husband or wife served in the U.S. military, died or active, dismissed honorably, all that, you can be a teacher in Florida now without any teaching credentials. At a time when literacy rates are suffering, when proficiency in math is hurting. There is I saw an article on Facebook. It wasn't an article, it was somebody's post. A teacher in Florida, apparently. And the only requirement is that in order to become a teacher for 5 years is that you sit in for a while with teachers in their classroom and see what they do. Because you don't remember going to school. Just sit in there. You don't even have to have a junior college. I'm assuming that you have to have a high school diploma or a GED. I don't know, in order to do this GOB. So your job is to sit in there, and then you get to be a teacher. The teachers with the 4, 5, 6, 7-year degrees, oh, hey, thanks for your service. But it's great. You're giving veterans a job. That's very, very nice. So your job is to watch somebody teach for a little while, 15 hours, 20 hours, whatever it is. One of the teachers said that somebody watched her, a spouse of a military veteran, watched her teach for a little while, and then asked what phonetic spelling is. Not how to do it, just didn't know what phonetic spelling was. So that's going to work out well for everybody. You know what? That's going to be fine. Honestly, in a lot of schools, it's just, here's the movie we're watching today. We're going to learn about history, kids. Here's Amadeus. Or Amistad. Or any movie starting with an Amelie. It's a great movie. You learn about photography from Amelie. So that's also happening. And now I got to get ready to go play some tennis, guys. So much more news to talk about, including how Joe Manchin played the Republicans today. But I've got to get ready to go play a little netsing, and then maybe later today we'll talk some more. I have 3 auditions for the same show, just tiny auditions, but it would be a good start to get. It's an actual TV show, so that'd be good. Kevinly Daughter had an audition for a show as well, a speaking role in a show yesterday, and she did fantastically. And I can't share that over social media, but maybe if you're a patron and you join us in our or a Patreon at KevinlyFather.com and you join us for our Friday night movies, you might get to hear a little bit more about that. That's not social media. So I am going to eat this so I don't get some cramping going on. And you're going to have yourself a wonderful day. And maybe, I'm hoping I can squeeze in a little more time today to talk about all the things that are happening in the news, because it has been a big whammy news day the last couple of days, one after the other. Also, economy shrunk last month by 0.6, 0.9%, depending on how you look at it, which is not terrible. We need the economy to slow down. It's super hot right now. People are spending like drunken sailors, as we talked about earlier. So, kids, be good to yourself. Hold on. Marcy says, I got emergency credentials 40 years ago, and it required 120 semester units and a grueling 8-hour exam. I don't know that that's the case in Florida from what I'm hearing. But again, I don't know enough about this. I haven't researched this. It's been too much going on to do all of this. Veterans. Well, veterans and their spouses, they need jobs, right? That's good. We got all these open jobs right now, 11.4 million open jobs or whatever the newer number is. And we've only got half that many people looking for work. So we have to figure out how to match those skills. And we have to have maybe not so many open jobs out there, which, thanks to the economy shrinking, is what's going to happen. So things are going to be okay. And I'm hoping I'm going to get an electric vehicle. Have I got ulterior motives? Have I got my own self-interest in mind when I ask you to call your senator or congresspeople? Absolutely. But it's also what's good for everybody. More electric vehicles, fewer carbon atoms being spewed, carbon dioxide, less methane being produced, etc., etc. Let's charge those cars off of solar panels, kids. Be good to yourself, be good to others, and most importantly, be good to me. And call your senator and congressperson and let them know, hey, not tax credits, tax rebates. They'll probably know what you're talking about. Or who knows, maybe they're just retired veterans who got phone answering credentials from Florida. Have yourself a great day, kids. Enjoy banana. It's good for the potassium. Vitamin K! You've already gotten your dose for the day. And maybe if you treat me right, you'll get a nice dose of vitamin K later.